Ladakh, high in the Indian Himalayas, one of the most inhospitable places on Earth. For the people who live here, survival is dependent on the Amchis, traditional doctors who practice an ancient Tibetan medicine. But these days, both the Amchis and the culture that supports them are under threat. A young Frenchman is leading the fight to save the ancient art of Amchi medicine. Life in this remote corner of India has been shaped by Buddhism for more than 1,000 years. In 1974, Ladakh opened its borders to tourism, and the Indian government introduced a road system, education, and Western medicine. The capital, Leh, is a former trading post on the Silk Road, and now the bustling center for development. In 1998, a young French scientist, Dr. Laurent Pordié, came here for the first time.
I came to Ladakh just over 2.5 years ago for an international organization called Nomad Health and Education to carry out an evaluation of various development projects. We generally work within traditional healthcare therapies, so I came with the hope of finding traditional medical systems. Healthcare here is mainly taken care of by the Amchis, who are practitioners of Tibetan medicine.
Laurent became intrigued by the possibilities of this natural medicine and spent much of his first 2 years visiting villages to see for himself the work the Amchis were doing and whether it was effective. 90% of Ladakh's population live in small, isolated farming communities scattered throughout the mountains. Laurent's research revealed a complex healthcare system deeply rooted in the culture and beliefs of Buddhism that has adapted perfectly to suit the needs of the people who live here. Combining divine teaching and natural pharmacology, Amchi Ishe Komzun provides medical care for the whole of her village, armed with only the medicines she keeps in an old biscuit tin and a few basic instruments.
Amchi medicine is a blend of various different medical systems, which came about in the 8th century, bringing together in its underlying principles spiritual matters from the Buddhist religion, philosophy, art and science. It's a holistic medicine that takes account of all the physical aspects, as well as the emotional and spiritual well-being of the patient.
Ishe's chanting and spinning prayer wheel will help to enhance her karma. Amchis are the epitome of spiritual values in Ladakhi society and pass their knowledge from generation to generation. This knowledge is based on the concept of bodily and spiritual balance between the individual and the universe around them. The most common ailments are headaches, respiratory problems, and arthritis from the extreme cold. Taking a pulse may look familiar, but to an Amchi, it reveals the exact nature and location of illness anywhere in the body. But unlike Western medicine, treatment is not aimed solely at curing the physical complaint.
When you consult an Amchi, he or she will provide you with a diagnosis and give you recommendations concerning your diet and behavior, social or religious, plus a treatment.
On
On a biological level, the treatments are made from natural products or substances. They come from plants, animals and minerals. And there have been many pharmacological studies that have proved that they are effective. Amchi medicine works. It's the only form of healthcare for the inhabitants of this region.
Traditionally, Amchis provided their services free in return for help on their land, giving them time to prepare medicines. But as Ladakh has developed, this system has broken down, and the status of Amchis in the community has declined.
In my opinion, medicine and money are the main difficulties that we are facing now. As well as seeing patients, we also have to work on our farms these days. There's not enough time to collect medical supplies, and that's a real problem. People here rely on us for medicines, and yet we are not getting any support or help from the government. Because there is Western medicine here now, the government is not really helping the Amchis. Because we don't have a formal education, we can't read English or Urdu like a Western doctor, only Tibetan, and that's not good enough to be considered for development and government assistance.
Laurent realized that Amchi medicine was in serious trouble, with fewer people training to become doctors. Worse still, government policy favors Western medicine, fine for those living in town, but not for the vast majority who live in the mountains. In 1998, he started the Traditional Medicine for Survival project to revive the culture and practice of Amchi medicine.
Setting up the project followed 2 years of research, and thanks to this work, we were able to gain a clearer picture of the precise situation here. There appeared to be an essential need, and that was for education.
Working closely with local organizations, Laurent set up an Amchi diploma, offering free tuition to 13 young Ladakhis from the most remote areas. This includes a course in literacy, so that students without a formal education can also apply for the diploma.
The
Disrapa diploma is the primary level of degree in Tibetan medicine, and it's open to students who might never have been to school. We have certain selection criteria. They have to own their own land and be married if possible, to guarantee that they will return to their villages once the training is complete. And there is also an age limit.
Amchi knowledge is based on an ancient Tibetan text with 4 books or tantras. Each chapter is then represented by leaves on a tree, which students must learn by heart. This course is setting a new standard for Amchi knowledge, vital if it's to be recognized by the government as an official Indian medical practice.
Obtaining an official diploma will enable students to obtain government posts and be paid for their work. This will therefore guarantee the survival of the practice.
Leh is where tradition and the modern world come face to face. Many Ladakhis are moving here, leaving their communities and culture behind. Ironically, it's this culture that attracts thousands of tourists each year, who bring money and Western values along with their cameras. Since 1974, these influences from outside Ladakh have started social changes with far-reaching implications.
Today, with the modernization of Ladakh, and in particular the arrival of a market economy, money has gradually come into the equation and brought about a breakdown of the traditional system of trading.
Amchis must now earn money to support themselves. In this rooftop clinic, a consultation is finishing, and Amchi Skalsang Norbu is being paid for his work. As an established expert on medicines, he now runs his clinic as a business. Like most Amchis, he still spends his spare time reading from the 4 tantras. Karma, Laurent's project coordinator, has come with a shopping list to buy medicines from Skalsang. Early in the project, it became clear that many Amchis couldn't get all the basic medicines they needed. So Laurent set up a system to supply them. Skalsang is a medicine wholesaler, a modern incarnation of the herb and spice traders who once passed through here en route to Tibet. His pills are made by hand to ancient formulae, using dried plants and herbs from all over India. Crumbled into boiling water, these pills are taken by the patient as an infusion.
The research we did showed that there was a clear lack of medical supplies at an individual level. This is why we decided to set up medicine banks. Thanks to these, the Amchis are able to gain fresh supplies of medicines and carry out their practices properly, getting everything that they need.
The idea of supplying medicines was an immediate success, but the problem of reaching the villages still has to be overcome. The next day, Karma and Laurent are on their way to resupply a mountain village in the Lingshet region. It's a journey that will take them 2 long days. Where the road ends, the hard work begins, on foot, at altitudes rising to 5,000 meters. The landscape has a rugged beauty, but in winter, the temperature here can drop as low as -40 degrees centigrade. Sitting amongst tightly packed fields of barley high above the river is the village of Sumdo. This is home to a farming community of 3 families, who are totally isolated for more than 8 months of the year. Laurent and Karma have come to see the Amchi doctor here, Dorje Rigjin, the only Amchi covering 5 villages in this area. A year ago, Dorje was given a supply of 40 medicines to help him continue his work. Sitting on the roof of his house, Laurent and Karma are eager to know which medicines have been most in demand and how he's coped with his patients' needs.
The medical banks are very important because they enable the Amchis to continue their work and dispense medicines. In addition to this, we're providing them with training to be able to manage the supplies in the bank and to trade their treatments, either for money, which is now integrated into most villages in Ladakh, or for flour, sugar or rice. The aim of the banks is to make the Amchis autonomous when it comes to restocking their medical supplies.
As the villages lose their sense of community, the pressure on Dorje is increasing, with less time for collecting raw materials to make medicines. Like the Amchis in Leh, he now has to run his practice more like a business if his stocks are to last through the long winter.
The management of the banks is done according to rules decided by a consensus with the Amchis. Some plants can be found easily in the mountains here, so that doesn't present any problems for resupplying. But for other plants or medicines, they need to have a very rigorous management method.
Collecting medicinal plants and herbs is shrouded in ritual and Buddhist beliefs. Like all Amchis, Dorje is devoted to his work, and searching for flowers and roots can take him far into the mountains.
We often have to go to Phatoksar mountain down this valley. This is the earliest time in the year to start looking for medicine. Most of it grows high up in the mountains, and I can't go there too early because it only grows for a few months each year. Now is the right time to go. Sometimes I have to travel a long way, and some years I don't. But we must do whatever we have to collect the plants. The main problem I face is not having enough medicine, and it upsets me to see patients who have a disease if I don't have the medicines to treat them. I have to send them to see a Western doctor or another Amchi, or they must go and buy their own medicines. Nowadays, things are much better for me and my villagers. We have all the basic medicines that we need. Patients must pay for what they can afford. I explain that all this medicine belongs to the community. Otherwise, they think it's free and are reluctant to pay. When they understand this, they give me the money without too much complaint.
The next morning, Laurent and Karma head to the nearby village of Wanla to help raise awareness for Dorje and his mountain clinic.
And the aim is to make them speak to each other in an interactive manner, trying at the end we become invisible and they speak together on this issue, and we will try to keep their ideas.
We organise public education campaigns to inform the villagers about the medicine banks, how they work and why they're there, but also to make them aware of their own responsibilities in terms of healthcare.
In the past, Amchis traded free medicine for labour in their fields. But because of social change, this sense of communal responsibility has crumbled, depriving the Amchis of the support they need. Laurent is hoping that the people of Wanla will now agree to pay for their medicines, rather than risk losing their Amchi altogether. But like all change here, this will take time and patience.
It's important to gain the trust of the villagers in the areas that we work in. To do this, we work as closely as possible with them, so they feel responsible for the project and can reinterpret the work we've put in place to make it into their own work.
Faire de ces actions leurs propres actions.
As the meeting comes to a close, Laurent and Karma provide tea for the village, a traditional gesture of respect amongst the Ladakhis. Amchi Dorje has also made the trip from Sumdo and holds an open clinic with his new stock of medicine. For the people of Wanla, their health and the future of this traditional medicine now lies in their own hands.
Amchi medicine has to survive in Ladakh. Otherwise, not only will a unique healthcare system be lost, but also an entire culture.
In recognition of his work, Laurent has won a Rolex Award for Enterprise. With this financial support, he'll be setting up Amchi clinics in 21 of the remotest areas in Ladakh and attracting more students for his diploma scheme. His goal is for every community here to have access to healthcare, so that the people and their culture can continue to survive.
My personal ambition for the future is to leave Ladakh, not because I don't like it here, quite the opposite, but because the day I can leave will be the day people no longer need us.